Hi, it's Dave Porter here, back with Justin Grimwade.
Hello.
Well, after the success of the last video, we've upgraded the sound and we've got our own channel now going on. So
no expense spared there, I think, Dave.
No, not at all. So let's crack on then with more information about big data.
Big data. Yep. I love big data.
So what would need to happen to take Power BI to discovery to get to the point when data analysts can add value? Do you think?
Okay, what I like about Power BI is it visualises the data in a nice, easy way for people who use the data to be able to look at without having to be a data analyst. So, I think I've described it, I wrote it down here so I remembered it. It's kind of allowing the users to interact with the data so they can find out the questions that they need to answer. And I think that's quite useful for them to understand what they've got. And then from that point onwards, we would then hand it over to the clever boys to do some work with it.
So one of the problems you've got at the moment is that we've got quite poor data in some of the maintenance systems, haven't we? Because the basically energy use a lot of third parties, getting them to add, put the data in correctly. So the part of this process is to improve the data quality, is it not?
Yeah, it is. And just by visualising it, you can put the similar bits of data together, and you immediately see that there's a difference between the site name on one versus the site name on another, which isn't always apparent if it's kept in separate systems or it's visualised in a different manner, just on separate sheets of paper or different displays in applications.
So basically, when we get the data quality better, and when the users know what they want out of the data in terms of the business value they can gain from it, would we then think it's the time to bring the analysts in?
I think so, because then we've understood the data better. Because we all have a view of what the data is going to be, and we all have a view of what we think we could do with it. It's not until you do something that you then realise that maybe some of those views were correct and some of them weren't correct, and maybe there's a different way of approaching it.
So we're going to just show you some of that now on a demo of Power BI.
Okay, so this is one example screen that we've just put together for the Power BI, and this is showing some of the data from our releases of plant and showing the maintenance activities on some of our onshore sites in the UK. And you can see straight away there's 74,500 releases of plant, so that's quite a large amount of data in itself. Each of these relates to a release of plant from a safety rule point of view, and it'll relate to at least one work activity. Now, you mentioned earlier about the quality of the data. You can see here, all we're doing is pulling the data out of the database. You can see straight away Ben Glass with and without a space. It's quite obvious to us. It's quite difficult for a system, of course, to be able to differentiate between those, and perhaps other people on other systems would refer to as BG or Ben G or something.
That's interesting.
Perhaps. So if we narrow this data down into, say, Carno, for example, you can see that the data set has changed. So on the Carno site, there's been 7,613 releases of plant. And it shows all of this data has changed to show the different type of work activity. And you can see on this particular graph here, just again as an example, it's showing some of the activities against individual turbines. If we wanted to filter that down, say, to look at the annual service work, then this is showing then each turbine, each time it's been released to do annual service work activity, and you can see that information is contained within this table. And then we link into the works maintenance system, the work order card number, so then you'd be able to investigate further the work that was carried out. But it gives a nice visual way of showing that, or you could perhaps understand why maybe turbine A02 has had 17 releases of plant versus A03, which has had 18, for example. And it just really...
it's fascinating, that.
It's just providing some, extra, just a nice view of that type of data.
You've just seen the demo of Power BI. So the question here is, what is foreseen to be discovered? So where do you think big data can take energy then?
Well, I think a lot of people think of big data along with maintenance activities to be able to provide a preventative maintenance type scenario. I must admit, I'm not so sure whether that's likely to happen. The problem with the preventative maintenance is the problem has to go wrong first for you to record the data to see what the problem was and possibly what it was caused by. To verify that, you've got to break the turbine again, in effect, to check that your original thought of the data you captured was okay. And so whilst there's clearly a place for that, I think that's quite difficult to get that level of data together in a place that's reliable. I think the most important bit for that really is it allows you to compare one turbine against another or one site against another. In the case of us here in the UK, we've got 32 onshore wind parks. They're all over the UK, so some are on the east coast or the west coast and the north and the south. And there's different maintenance teams, there's different turbine makes, there's different locations for them. And all of those have a factor, so it makes it quite difficult sometimes to compare one turbine against another. But hopefully by providing some visualization of that, will help us understand the data we're capturing. It'll also help the quality of the data that's captured. If people can easily see the data they've inputted into the system on how it's seen by others and how it's potentially used by others.
So, I mean, one thing you have talked about is that it may help plan better in the future. That's the thing. Maybe because you can do that direct comparison, you can capture information about how you've done things before.
Yes, that's right. And you can also add other data sources such as perhaps the weather conditions and so forth. But you can easily see straight away, as I think that demo showed, you could see how often a task is performed or perhaps how long a task is taken. And then that allows a much greater level of accuracy in planning for future work activity that is similar.
So this is where we see the advantage of, say, Planet OS at the moment, because instantly they're getting a dashboard of exactly what's happening across multiple applications at site, and this will help with their planning, won't it? So,
yes, it will. Yeah, that's right.
So what are the next steps for Planet OS then?
Well, we've done the proof of concept, the phase 1. So we're going to add some of the more difficult data, but some of the more interesting data really, insofar as we currently display an amount of turbine data, some performance data, and we also display some of the work activity on those particular turbines. What we're going to do is capture then the additional information such as the vessel and people tracking, some additional work activity information, some commercial activity and so forth. And what that should give us is a full picture of the activities across the entire wind park.
Okay. And I mean, effectively, it's the first time that Energy, will be able to look at those different data from different applications in real time and be able to filter, which we'll see in the next demo. Actually, be able to filter one application's data based on another application's information.
Yeah, indeed.
So we get this sort of cross look about what we're getting from different applications.
Yeah,
it's
that's
the
right.
First time we've seen that.
And I think sometimes the focus has been on perhaps capturing all the performance data of the turbines and looking at that, and then maybe capturing maintenance data and looking at that. What we're trying to do with the power board, as it's now called, the dashboard, is to try and combine it in a view that we can pull this data together.
Okay.
This is the power board dashboard for Gwinty Moor, and you can see we've displayed all of the turbines in a grid type format. What's quite nice about this is you can alter the way you display these turbines based on name or string and so forth. But what's also quite interesting is the way that you can filter it. And this is all about trying to display lots of data in a way that's easy to be viewed by the operator in this example. If, for example, we show the turbines that are in service mode, they all are. It's quite difficult perhaps even to find them because they're within a grid of turbines. Clearly there's 160 turbines here, but we can now link them in the released manner. So this is showing all the turbines that are in service mode and turbines that have got somebody working on them at this particular moment in time because they've been released, similar to the data that we showed in the Power BI example.
It's fascinating.
Where we show the turbine that is released under the wind turbine safety rules. This allows us to view that data in a way that's easy to see.
So that's that, looking at two applications data at the same time. Effectively, you're bringing back people and you're bringing back things that aren't in service or whatever.
Yes,
at
indeed.
the same time.
Yeah, that's right. And then you can drill into this and view slightly more information. You can obviously now see some of this live data coming through. This data updates on a 10-second basis. And then we'll add on to this particular area. If we take this one, for example, you can see that when we have this listed, you can see at what particular time that turbine was released and to who to, and then you're able to see when that turbine's been returned and who accepted that particular turbine. It's just really a view of the entire wind park.
So at the moment this has got sort of dummy data when it comes to people in it, hasn't it?
Yep.
And also the work order data is dummy. But obviously this is the next phase, bringing the people data in, we're
Yep.
bringing the Pacman forecast data, so we're aware of the impact of taking a turbine offline to maintain it, the financial impact of that. And ensure that obviously the forecasting is correct for the site. So
Yes, that's right. It'll give us a full view. We should be able to see when an alarm occurs on the turbine, perhaps to cause that turbine to fail. Then we'll see the work order card raised for work against that. We'll see the technician leave the port and head to the turbine. We'll see the technician ask for the turbine under the wind turbine safety rules, work in it, and then we'll see the turbine return back to full service and generating electricity once again.
Okay, so thanks for the demo. So when does big data visualization become big data discovery? Just
Well, I think once we've made sure the data is of a good enough quality by visualizing and addressing those parts there, and also once we've understood the data fully. Obviously, the users understand the data, but they need to understand the data within the context of all the other data. At that point, then we can then do something perhaps slightly more automated with it.
Okay, thanks very much for watching Big Data TV today. We've been Justin and Dave.
Hello.
Dave and Justin.
Hello.
Goodbye.
I think.
Very well.